Have you been searching for that next level upgrade? Ready to invest into something that is in it for the long haul? Well, look no further than the composited innovations provided by Prime. These customly crafted pieces are handmade by former Jason Johnson Racing car chief and Prime owner-operator Clyde Caniff. Prime Composite Innovations is located centrally in Missouri and is looking to provide that big-time performance at a fraction of that big-time price. For additional information, visit prime-composites.com today to see what they have to offer, as well as their stable of current full-time drivers that trust Prime with their ride. For the future of innovations, with the properly composited type, you can depend, move forward, and rely on Prime.
This is how we ride. This is how we do.
Always the topic in the racing world. We've seen Bitcoin Indy 500 machines. We've seen NASCAR. You even got that Bitcoin sprint car shirt. You've talked, or at least we talked about, you potentially having a Bitcoin sprint car out there on the track. I think you and Rico were close to doing something potentially at one point. But the racing world is kind of a little backwoods in traditionalism. And traditionalism, bet you the racing world is probably an 80% cash spender at businesses. They don't even like debit and credit cards, you know. So
love it.
I mean, I'm just saying, but you know, I think we were talking about Logan Schuchart. I think I saw a tweet or something like that where you told Logan Schuchart when he won the $1 million race that he should have invested all of it into Bitcoin, because in this time period since then, it would be worth more than the dollar if he would have saved it since then, which technically would be true, correct?
Yeah, I put out a tweet in November of that year where I just said, because again, like, I'm just trying to bring light. And I love what you said about the motorsports community, because one, I love the motorsports community. And I love that a lot of it's cash business. I think that's beautiful. You know, again, I love the characteristics that cash, are the properties of money that cash has, right? We can transact freely between each other without the need of a bank or a payment network. But anyways, going back to Logan Schuchart in the $1 million race, I did put out a tweet because I was at the Eldora Million, and this was when Bitcoin had, quote, crashed, right? It was around, I think, $30,000 a coin. And, you know, it's when I first started, like, kind of voicing up to the motorsports community on, like, you know, hey, like, you guys should consider looking at Bitcoin as, like, the money for either paying out racers or vendors transacting between each other, because this is grassroots, right? Like, I don't want to involve unnecessary parties to tell me how to use my money. But yeah, I basically said if Logan Schuchart, I think at the end of the year in November, I put out a tweet. It was like, what if Logan would have actually took that $1 million and, you know, invested it into Bitcoin? And what sparked that tweet was because I was always a fan of the King's Royal, right? And the King's Royal, I can't remember what year it came to fruition. It was in the, do you know, Chaz?
I think
what year
84.
the first King's Royal? Right. So I think in 1984, right, it paid $50,000 to win.
Yes.
Well, $50,000 in 1984 is not the same $50,000 in, you know, what, 2017, I think was the last, when was the last year that they did 50,000?
18. I think it was 18 was the last year, and then they went to 175, I believe, in 19.
Right. So, like, that's not the same. Like, we can all agree that $50,000 in 1984 would have gotten you a lot farther than $50,000 in 2018.
Right. I say this all the time as far as, like, the payouts of the sport in general. It's not the same. I mean, it's ridiculous. $10,000 to win a outlaw race in the 80s and $10,000 to win in 2024 is like $100 back then, or $200. Yeah, or well, not that, but yeah.
Right. So and shout out to Tony for increasing the racers' pay, and shout out to Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet and those guys for not tolerating, having a low racer pay. It is a problem that needs to be addressed, but the money's broken. I think we can all agree on that. But anyways, okay, going back to Logan Schuchart and the $1 million race, I basically put out a tweet saying, congrats on the $1 million. Like, $1 million isn't going to get you as far as you think it is nowadays. You should, what if Logan would have taken that $1 million and bought Bitcoin? And I even did some other comparisons of like, what if he invested it in the stock market, like the S&P 500, or bought gold with it, or, whatever, or just kept it in the bank. And basically everything decreased in that time other than Bitcoin. So if Logan would have invested that $1 million into Bitcoin, that $1 million today would be worth around 3.4 million. That's a 237% gain. So and I think a better example for the audience, going back to when the government was handing out those stimulus checks, right? When everybody got $1,200 stimuluses, that was back, I think, in April 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
It was somewhere around
If you
there.
would have taken that $1,200 stimulus and bought Bitcoin, that $1,200 would now be worth $18,000 today. So there's your proof that the currency's hyperinflating. And
that $1,200 probably would only have about $1,000 worth of buying power, or maybe $800 in today's society.
Exactly. So, at the end of the day, this isn't a technology. We're talking about money, and money has been pre-programmed into us. So I don't expect the world to just wake up tomorrow and have this euphoric moment that Bitcoin is the future.
It's a psyop in a way.
But I think when you see numbers like this, you should really start asking yourself, okay, what is money? And and the whole reason what inspired me to start talking about this, obviously I work for, I don't work for Bitcoin. Nobody does. It's this, it's a decentralized currency. There's no company behind Bitcoin. I do work for Bitcoin Magazine and Bitcoin Conference, but I wanted to really start stepping out and speaking to the motorsports communities because one, I do resonate with them because I grew up racing. I love motorsports. And I think it's I think the Bitcoin community and the motorsports community share a lot of the same values. We all believe in a hard money. And when I mean hard money, all I'm meaning is basically money that's hard to create. Beachside real estate is a form of hard money because there's only so much coastline, right? Dollars is not hard money because you can create it out of thin air. So Bitcoin is hard money. You can't just create more of it. And when I think of people in motorsports community, I'm really thinking of grassroots people that work very hard in either skilled labor jobs where they should be demanding hard money. They should be getting paid in hard money. You should be getting paid in a money that somebody can't just steal from you in the form of inflation. So, again, I invite all the criticism. I'm here to answer any question. I just want to start bringing light to this because I love motorsports. I love the motorsports community, and I want to see motorsports have a, renaissance period like we saw back in the day. And I think if we start adopting hard money like Bitcoin, that's going to repair a lot of the problems that you see in motorsports, whether it's racers' pay or, the fans, the amount that they have to pay to go to races, or just the integrity of the sport. I mean, I think if we saw hard money, money that goes up over time, that's getting paid out for these events, you're going to see a higher quality event, and you're going to all of a sudden restore the integrity of motorsports. You're going to see more teams that are competitive. You're going to see more racers that are competitive. You're not going to have to depend so much on people buying rides and rich money coming in. Like, yes, that's always going to be a problem.
Right.
That's always going to have something that's
Yeah,
there,
the value
but-
of winning is not there.
Right, exactly. Like, you could probably win every race and you're still not going to make a good living. Like, that's absurd. So, yeah, like, I'm going to continue to champion this. We are early. I don't expect, like, I wrote a letter to the High Limit series when they formed. I said, look, congratulations. It's a great idea. Like, I think there should be another body that's competing with the World of Outlaws. That way there are more options and more racer pay to go around. But, you should be different. You should be a trailblazer, and you guys should pay your racers in Bitcoin. And if they would have done that, I'm not saying they need to price the events in Bitcoin. Like, let's just say, I think a High Limit deal paid $50,000 to win most shows. So, like, if you would have paid $50,000 in Bitcoin, that would be like worth over double that today. So, imagine if I won a $50,000 race and I had to pay $25,000 in expenses, and I kept the rest in Bitcoin to pay out my crew members, my team, whatever. It's that amount of money is all of a sudden like worth over $50,000 again. So, like, again, like, it's a hard concept for people to grasp because we were all born in the dollar system. It's been engraved into our brains, but it is not going to work. And you're always going to face the same challenges over and over again until you start adopting a money that actually works. And Bitcoin is the only chance of us getting to that. And I do think we will hit it. But that's why I wanted to differentiate Bitcoin and crypto. Like, don't come talking to me about which crypto coin I should buy. The answer is always going to be Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to continue to go up in value. You should save your hard-earned money, your hard-earned time, and an asset that's hard. And Bitcoin is that asset.
This is how we